Antonia Okafor is a great advocate for concealed campus carry, and she continues her fight for students nationwide. Great friend of NRATV. Antonia, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Rather than talk about getting in the weeds on specific legislation, I'm much more interested in this. At CPAC, I told you that you don't just have physical courage; you have moral courage, the courage to stand up against the tide and to do what you think is right in your heart. What would you say is the hardest part of what you do?
Well, I would say the hardest part is definitely talking to other African Americans who don't believe what I believe right now. When you know that it's something that's going to be there to protect them, and it's not an issue about race, and if anything, it's there to protect someone who is a minority, and they don't see it. And you just know as another African American that it's something so important to them and something so helpful to them and has been in our history, but they just don't know about our history to be able to utilize it or to be able to advocate for it yet. So I'd probably say that's the hardest thing, is when people don't know the knowledge behind or the history behind gun rights and how it protects them. It doesn't harm them.
Yeah, I think if you talk to most students today and you told them things like, that the Democratic Party left the Union to form the Confederacy, and that the KKK was a Democratic Party tool, and so were the Jim Crow laws, and all of those videos we've seen of cops turning loose dogs and hosing down protesters trying to go to school. They're all Democrats, every one of them, George Wallace and Bull Connor and all the rest. So
yeah.
This history lesson is, do you think that this history is intentionally not taught? Because I certainly do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't even know that the KKK was a gun control group, that they literally started as a gun control group until about a couple of years ago, and I read a great book on it. So it's something that's definitely not taught in our history classes, even in college, for that matter, especially in college. And if anything, they make it seem like, oh, well, the people who aren't for that, and that's all the people on the Republican Party, and that means they were anti-gun, or they were pro-gun, and that's bad for people, and they were anti-women, and of course, that's bad for people. And so when they don't look at the facts that, well, actually, to be pro-gun, to be pro-woman, to be pro-minority, to be pro-American, is to enable every American to be able to protect themselves for self-defense reasons. That's what the NRA is about, and that's why it's the largest and the longest running civil rights movement and organization, because it's protecting everybody's right for self-defense.